Hey guys, Blake Call here to talk about one of my favorite Beatles albums. That is Magical Mystery Tour. Yeah, this is just one of the best albums, man. I love this album so much. It's just one of the best examples, I think, of just pure psychedelic pop. This was sort of the flip side of Sgt. Pepper's, which was, the big dominating album of summer of 1967, Summer of Love. But, Magical Mystery Tour was sort of a combination of a lot of those B-sides and just an all-around another shade of what Sgt. Pepper's was doing. But, I have to say these days I'm actually more drawn to this album. The reason why for that is I think that they were just I think the Beatles were just a little more comfortable in the psychedelic pop realm by the time they were at this point. Like, I love Sgt. Pepper's. I absolutely love that album. But in a lot of ways, after a while, you listen to it a lot, I'm like, okay, I can tell it's a little bit of a new sound, like for them. So I adore this album. I think that, going by track, you immediately kick off with Magical Mystery Tour, the self-titled song. Such a groovy one. I love the whole roll up with the mystery tour. It just gives evokes something really exciting. Like you got a journey ahead of you. This is much like how Sgt. Pepper's, the opener for Sgt. Pepper's was, where it's just like, it's introducing the show. It's introducing this concept, which I think that's another funny thing about Sgt. Pepper's. It introduces this concept that never really goes anywhere. It's just kind of there simply for the sake of hey, we're not the Beatles, we're other people, which I think is awesome. I love that. I think Magical Mystery Tour also is kind of going for something similar. It's just like an invitation for the ride to come. Love it. Love the bass line. Love the groove. I love that, especially in the last 30 seconds when it gets a little airy, almost a little mystic sounding. I love it. Love this song. And then next we got one of my favorite, most underrated Paul McCartney songs, "The Fool on the Hill." This song is a song that really speaks to me a lot, because it's easy to get low self-esteem. Sometimes you feel like you're the dummy in the circle, and it's just one of those reassuring songs. It's like, hey man, you're not that dumb, you know know about something there. I love that song. It's one of my favorite Paul songs. Especially love in the middle. There's a bridge where there's it gets a little almost goofy, quirky sounding. And I like that because it implies hey, this guy's kind of a fool, but he's also kind of the man. I like to imagine this was almost maybe something of a personal song for Paul to write. And then next we have the song "Flying," which is fun. This is a little bit of an ironic one because it's the only song that features all four members of the band as credited for this song. Yet there's no lyrics on it really. It's just a lot of la da da. But it's a really cool instrumental piece. It's one of the only times the Beatles did an instrumental piece like that. I love it though. It's honestly got a really pleasant sound to it. It makes me kind of the song you can just kind of drift off to, and then the very end, there's again kind of in the self-titled track, there's almost like a mystic sound that it almost sounds like something kind of dark is ahead. So there's charm about the album. There's almost a seemingly very happy tone to it. And it is very happy, I think, genuinely. But there's also a dark undertone. You can kind of feel the dark side of psychedelic rock, sort of just lingering just right above. Something it feels great, but something wrong is gonna come shortly. I love that feeling that lingers throughout. And that especially comes into the fourth track, "Blue Jay Way." That's a great one because it's a very underrated George Harrison song. He wrote that in L.A. and it really captures kind of a misty L.A. kind of atmosphere. It's a pretty psychedelic song. It's one of the only times I think George really, around this era, George liked to get pretty experimental with his songs. It's one of the most experimental songs on the album. I love its slow burner kind of touch to it. It starts off just almost a little horror-like until it kind of gets into this really bizarre psychedelic groove. And again, it's a groove that just feels hazy. I like how uniquely hazy the song is, especially when the orchestration kicks in. That's a great one. And then we're followed up by a Paul jam, "Your Mother Should Know." It's a lovely song. It's just super charming. It's what I really love about that song is that, hey, we're kind of listening to that song the way, Paul was intending people to listen to music in the 20s when his parents, what his parents raised him on. Well, it's now here I am, I feel like I was raised on the Beatles, so that it's a nostalgic thing to me almost now. It's also an eternal thing too. It's a thing that'll always have a personal meaning and a power to it. Your mother should know, it's hey, don't be afraid to check back on the classics every now and then. Don't be afraid to look back. See what your ancestors know. They might have some. They might have something there for you. Love that song. Then next we got John Lennon's classic, "I Am the Walrus." And man, it's awesome. I think most of the enjoyment of the song really comes down to the instrumentation. I mean, it's just really forward thinking in the way it's produced. It sounds really ahead of its time. Of course, the lyrics are kind of nonsense, but it's awesome nonsense. Maybe it's not as nonsense as it seems. There might be some inherent meaning there, but it feels very random seemingly. So I really enjoy that. And in a lot of ways, I always wonder if, he wrote this song trying to kind of confuse the audience a little bit, just kind of overwhelm them by okay, what is this exactly? But yeah, no, I'm the Walrus is, one of the all-time best, for a reason. It really is. And then we get on the B side, and we start off with one of Paul's melodically finest, "Hello Goodbye." The lyrics might be kind of nonsense, but man, it's all about the melodies on this piece. It's just it's just a pure pop fest. Honestly, it's endlessly catchy. The bass line grooves, the melodies just come together in a really special way for this song. I could listen to this song endlessly. I don't know, it just makes you feel good to keep playing that one. Like I said, there's even a good music video for it too. I always like watching that a lot. It's a Paul classic. And then next we got perhaps one of the most iconic songs in the Beatles catalog, "Strawberry Fields Forever." I mean, this is John Lennon's piece of nostalgia, and it's like a place he escapes to, to escape his troubles. And I think that the song can apply for anybody, really. It's like just when things get tough, it's like there's a simple place, a pure state of mind you want to return to. And that's what the song's about, being able to go back to that place, even if just for a little bit. It's like kind of like a place where you feel safe from the hardships of reality. You feel safe from anything that's, tough or scary. But, there's like it's like almost like a happy and sort of sort of like a scary song too, because, there's like a something slightly terrifying about the song as it progresses. It's almost like this state of mind can't last forever. Reality is going to come back and hit you hard eventually. So you don't want to drift too far off. And, that's at least kind of what it says to me, in a lot of ways. I can easily drift off for too long sometimes. And I like a songs like that, because it's like, all right, yeah, don't lose touch with reality now. I love it. And then we follow up with Paul's nostalgic piece, "Penny Lane." Oh, this is just a perfect song. One of the most perfect bass lines, one of the most perfectly organized songs I've heard. Along with "Strawberry Fields," I think it's one of just might be my favorite moment on the entire album. The song just really speaks to me in a certain way. It's hard to even explain what it is exactly. It's almost like that it sort of just does take you like the "Strawberry Fields" does. It sort of takes you to that sort of like safe space in a little bit, but you also kind of have an awareness that you are kind of in an isolated state also. And, it's like reality's going to come back and get you eventually, but it's such a lovely piece. I love "Penny Lane." And then after that, we got "Baby You're a Rich Man." First heard this song actually maybe back when I saw The Social Network for the first time. It plays at the very end of the movie. Very fitting for the movie. But anyway, the song's just perfect. It's a perfect Paul and John collaboration. And I don't think it was a coincidence that this song was featured on the same single as "All You Need Is Love," which is the next song on the album, but getting to that shortly. I think that, they go together, because I think that, they were perhaps proposing like, okay, we're wealthy, we're rich, but, what is all this, material good next to, just, there's something greater also that should kind of keep us, consistently happy and fulfilled, which is where "All You Need Is Love" comes in. It's like, the most important thing though, in the true way of happiness, is to be loving and just, share love with others. It's like what the Beatles' message was in a nutshell. And I think I love that closer. It's just a endlessly fantastic message that John Lennon had to convey in that, really. It's perfect. I love that music video for it too. The Beatles got a lot of other people involved for that also. Even got Mick Jagger singing in this one also. And there's also that really awesome nostalgic throwback at the end that Paul throws in, where she's like, "She loves you." And it's like, oh man, to throw back to their first song, "She Loves You," back from the Beatlemania era. And it's just like, wow, look how far they evolved in just 4 years. They kind of went from just sort of being these innocent lads to just being these kind of psychedelic, just pop geniuses. And they only had more to progress too, Time started getting troubling for the band, but this is probably the last part of the band sort of being, together as a whole, confidently enjoying their role in the Beatles. I think they were starting to lose interest slowly around here, especially through their ventures into India, just finding their own personal routes and, ideals. So yeah, man, that's Magical Mystery Tour by the Beatles. Just an endless classic album. I recommend it to anybody. Just, something there for everyone to love. It's a lot of psychedelic pop magic. And like the B side is just one of the best of all time. You can listen to that anytime and enjoy it. But side A is also worth it. There's not a lot of notable hits, but it's all fantastic nevertheless. Except for "I'm the Walrus." That's of course a massive one. But the 5 before it actually are not like massive songs, but they're really great sort of deeper cut Beatles, gems. So yeah, that's Magical Mystery Tour. I got more album reviews coming up soon, so stay tuned. Take it easy, y'all.